There's a lot of movie news going on the last couple of days that I haven't had a chance to talk about, and some of the stuff I'm really excited to talk about. So much so, we got some news on Scream 7, which, honestly, since this movie has been in production hell, with the firings, the rewrites of the script, bringing in new directors, new cast members been cut. Well, not new cast members, but the recasting of cast members. It's definitely been a journey since Scream 6, and like I said, I'm a huge fan of Scream. I absolutely love that franchise. One of my favorite franchises in the horror genre. So much so, I actually saw all 4, 5, and 6 in theaters multiple times. Absolutely adored them. Super stoked for Scream 7. I'm actually going to take off the opening weekend and go see it probably multiple times. Just don't tell my wife. Yeah, definitely tell I'm working. Just take off that weekend and go see it multiple times because I'm so excited for this movie. Again, it's been in production hell. One of the big comebacks, or the big kind of I don't even call it green lights, one of the biggest pushes to get this movie back in the good graces of the fans was they brought the original writer, Kevin Williamson, in to direct, which that's not new news, that's old news. He is signed on to direct it like a year and a half ago. Film is pretty much complete now at this point. As far as production goes, I believe they're in post-production now. Again, film's getting released in February, so we got 5 months till it comes out. So I'm sure we'll see a trailer for it soon. But there is news that Hayden Panettiere, as I'm probably butchering her name, a.k.a. Kirby, is coming back in Scream 7, which I am so excited for. Now, for those of you familiar with the franchise, or may have forgotten the franchise, seen it, but not overly obsessive, Kirby pretty much is the Randy character in Scream 4. Well, half the Randy character. Because you do have Charlie, who was the other glorified film nerd in Scream 4, who, spoiler alert, was the killer and died a horrible death. Kirby was also one of those, cinephiles who were like Randy, and they're the character that I absolutely love the most. I absolutely love Randy's character in the first 2 Scream movies. Sad to see him die. I was really hoping he was going to make it through the franchise. Cause being a film nerd, you're going to love the film nerds. And we had her as our film nerd, our hero in Scream 4. In Scream 5 and 6, we had Mandy Meeks, a niece of Randy Meeks. It was Randy Meeks' sister's kids, the Meek twins. And Mandy was, the cinephile. She was the Randy. And again, we had her for 4 and 5. And we introduced, 5 and 6. And we reintroduced Kirby's character in 6. Technically, she never died off. That was confirmed by Wes Craven in Scream 4 in the commentary. There was a deleted scene that never made the final cut of Scream 4 where it shows that she got out alive. And Scream 5, there is a video clip, like an Easter egg, when Richie was watching stuff on YouTube. There was an interview with survivor Kirby, and it had the little on the reels thing here in the corner. So it was an Easter egg in Scream 5, so we knew she lived. She came back in Scream 6. Now, her being in Scream 7 after everything was questionable. Where are they going to bring her back? Because I know the Meek twins aren't coming back. Jennifer Ortega's character is not coming back. So, again, Tara and Sam, they're not coming back. So it kind of was going back to the origins of all your OG characters. Sidney Prescott, Gail Weathers. We had, they said, cast members such as Matthew Lillard, who plays Stu, is coming back for this one. They had Patrick Dempsey supposedly in talks to come back because she was Detective Kincaid, which was Sidney's love interest in 3, wasn't in 4 at all. But apparently she married him and they had kids and a family in 5 because they refer to Mark, which Mark Kincaid was the detective in Scream 3 who she had a love interest with. So again, was it the same Mark in 5 that was from 3? Where was he at in 4? We don't know. Because she was apparently single in 4, didn't have a love interest in 4. So again, kind of curious to where that was at. But he was existent in 5. So of course, bringing him back for 7 because Nev Campbell wasn't in 6 due to a argument or disagreement in pay. So again, they got her back for 7. So the fact that Kirby is coming back for 7 is a huge deal. Now, how is it going to fit in the story? That's kind of questionable because in Scream 4, she was one of the friends. She was a character in the friend group who was, the targets of that film. Now in Scream 6, when she came back as an FBI agent. Well, now she's Special Agent Kirby with the FBI. So she was working on the case as a federal agent, and she specialized in Ghostface killings and serial killers. Well, she said she specialized in Ghostface killings. So I guess she works with like serial killer division in the FBI. It doesn't go into details, doesn't have to, but it kind of raises the question is, what is her role going to be in Scream 7? Because now she technically kind of is a legacy character at this point, and I'm going to argue she's a legacy character because I feel like she's been around long enough now that she's kind of been like grandfathered in as a legacy character. Because yes, you know, Sydney, Gale, Stu, they're your true legacy characters. Mark Kincaid, he's only one film earlier than Kirby, so if he's a legacy character, she kind of could be a legacy character because she was part of the original franchise, not necessarily the reboot. She was introduced in the reboot, but she was part of the original franchise. So I would argue she has become a legacy character, but her involvement with Sydney and Gale are kind of less so Sydney, because her and Gale did have more of an involvement with, and 4 they all kind of interacted. In 6, her and Gale kind of worked side by side or parallel, I guess you'd say. So it kind of makes her more relevant. At the end of 6, spoiler if you haven't seen it, you should have already if you watch this video, that Kirby told Sam and Tara that, you know, if you know they're in it together now, and it kind of said that, you know, if you ever get any more problems, give me a call, I'll be there, type thing, where she was involving herself, kind of like Dewey did in the sequels. How in Scream 2, when Sydney was attacked, or when they had the killings at the theater and it was coming all back, Dewey, first thing he did was go visit Sydney at Windsor College and kind of got back involved with that. So that kind of was what they were doing with Kirby's character at the end of 6. And I feel like with 7, with them not being in there and going back to the legacy characters, is she going to be involved as a legacy character, or is she going to get herself involved as the FBI agent who is now investigating these killings? So it doesn't really say much. It just says that she is in the 7th film. That was big news. Hoping to see a trailer soon. Generally, I don't like trailers, but I'm 50-50 on trailers. A lot of times, try to go to movies without seeing too many trailers for it. Just spoil too much for me. But Scream 7, I'm like super stoked to see trailers for it and just kind of get everything and consume everything I can, because I am super stoked for this film. It's one of my most anticipated films, probably of 2026. And I say one of the most, and it's not the most, but one of the most, definitely top 5 most anticipated films, because there is a lot of great films coming out in 2026. But Scream is definitely going to be one of my most anticipated on that list. So with that being said, are you excited to know that Kirby is coming back? Because she was a fan favorite, and the fact that she came back, or you also want to touch up too, is she going to be the geek of the film? Like, we had Randy in 1 and 2, and 3 we really didn't have that character, which I kind of think there was a gap there. In 4 we had Charlie and Kirby, and 5 and 6 we had Mandy Meeks. Is she going to kind of rephrase that role and kind of give us the insight of the horror tropes and be that person who guides us through the movie, like our movie guide through the tropes of horror? Is she going to play that role as well as the FBI agent? Is she going to be that film nerd that kind of like takes us through, you know, the suspect list and going through the whole 9 and what to expect in a horror movie? That's originally one of my thoughts that I went to put in the video, just kind of totally spaced down there for a second. But is she going to be that character? And is that why they brought her back? Because instead of reintroducing another film character who kind of takes us through the rules of horror, is she going to kind of fill that role? And not even that she'd be filling it, like, or that's not why they brought her back necessarily. She would fill the role great, but they're not saying that's the reason they bring her back. But I think that would be a really kind of cool insight that she's now an FBI agent. So she's kind of in there as an FBI agent, but she also doubles as the, you know, expert of horror films that kind of walk us through what to expect. With that being said, what are your thoughts on Kirby returning? Comment below. Let me know.